They're embarrassed by what's going on. Our country is laughed at. All over the world, they're laughing at us. MAGA, make America great again. And America first. America first is a very important part of MAGA.
Dominating, decisive, and defiant, former President Donald Trump won the Republican Iowa caucus with 51% of the vote, a caucus record. And his campaign now heads into next week's New Hampshire primary with momentum against GOP rival Nikki Haley. Haley is polling second to Trump in New Hampshire, but she finished third in Iowa behind Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a devastating blow for a campaign that so desperately wanted an upset.
70% of Americans don't want another Trump-Biden rematch.
They threw everything but the kitchen sink at us. The media was against us. They were writing our obituary months ago. They even called the election before people even got a chance to vote.
While Haley and DeSantis will soldier on, Vivek Ramaswamy dropped out of the race and backed Trump.
As of this moment, we are going to suspend this presidential campaign. There is no path for me to be the next president.
As for President Biden, the Democrats announced that he raised a record $97 million last quarter alone in fundraising, adding to a $117 million war chest of cash on hand. Joining us now with reaction is my friend and colleague, The Hill's Julia Manchester. Julia, you're in Iowa, but now all focus heads to New Hampshire. Can Haley hold on?
You know, Kevin, I think Haley will certainly have a better time in New Hampshire than she had in Iowa. Look, I think it was questionable whether she was going to even place second in Iowa. We saw some of those early polls showing her beating DeSantis, but a lot of GOP sources I've spoke to on the ground here said they questioned that margin in those data, saying that they thought DeSantis was being underestimated. So as Haley goes into New Hampshire, she'll be given a fresh slate because we do know that New Hampshire is a very different Republican primary electorate. For someone like Ron DeSantis, it's going to be more difficult, though, because Iowa was probably a better electorate for him than a New Hampshire or even a South Carolina.
So for DeSantis' campaign, though, I mean, play this forward. Both Haley as well as DeSantis got crushed by Donald Trump. I mean, it was not close. He set a major record, not even just beating the margin of victory record, a huge record. In any other election year, Julia, this race would be announced over. So how much longer can these two campaigns go on? Is it all over after New Hampshire?
You know, Kevin, I got flashbacks to 2016 last night when we see these victory parties at, for second and third place in so many states when Donald Trump would win. It kind of reminded me of that. But look, I think New Hampshire may be a final straw. If Haley is able to have a good performance and run a close margin with Trump, same thing for DeSantis, though it doesn't seem like he'll do that in New Hampshire, then we'll see the fight go to South Carolina. I think we'll probably see these two candidates fight on until South Carolina. DeSantis is going to South Carolina today. However, it's hard to see how they end up on top because last night proved that this is Trump's party, the Republican Party, and the primary electorate is very squarely behind him. We know they vary from state to state, so New Hampshire could be more favorable to a candidate like Haley, but Trump won in New Hampshire in 2016, so he has a leg up there.
And he's got a lot of relationships there, too, especially in the northern part of the state. Frozen and loathing on the campaign trail. Was Zombie Burger worth it?
It was worth it. Oh my gosh, I got the ray gun. It was excellent. But the fries, I think the fries were my favorite part.
I love a good French fry. But quickly before I let you go, Congress punting the deadline on a continuing resolution to keep the government funded. Just bring us up to speed on that. They've once again kicked the can down the road. Arguably, Speaker Johnson getting away with a bit of what could have been a massive blow to his early speakerhood. But this fight's far from over.
Yeah, and Chip Roy, the congressman from Texas who endorsed DeSantis, he was on the ground here in Iowa over the past few days, really expressing his disappointment in that he's part of that Freedom Caucus that had, was pushing against Kevin McCarthy. And I think we can see members like that continue to push against Speaker Johnson. It's going to be a long road ahead, even though he might have saved himself for the time being.
Awesome reporting on the campaign trail, Julia. Excellent, excellent job. You're well ahead of everybody else, but get back here safe to Washington, D.C., where it's not as cold as Iowa, but I will say it's a little bit cold, Jules.
Yeah, I'm not going to take off my snow boots.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Thank you to Julie Manchester. And in pop culture news, the Eagles lost, but Elton got an EGOT. My beloved Philadelphia Eagles lost the NFL wildcard playoff game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who will now go on to face the Detroit Lions in the NFL divisional round. But Elton John won an Emmy for his Disney Plus concert special. Hey, who doesn't love a little Philadelphia freedom? That's it for today's Daily Debrief. My name is Kevin Cirilli. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel, and come back here soon for the intersection between politics and policy.